Hello and welcome to the MSTAR training session to define the subsessions within a session. The subsessions are the subdivisions under the main sessions if the session is divided into two separate divisions such as summer, winter, etc. In case these divisions are not applicable to the school, then we can define a common division called general. The definition of subsession is also a mandatory requirement to proceed further in various modules. Let us see the steps to define the subsession details. Click on the button MSTAR and select Module Configuration. The name of the module appears on the main screen, which means that you are now working in the configuration module. Click on the button Business Rules and select the screen Subsession. As the screen opens, first click on the box next to the academic year and select academic year. After this, click on the box next to the session and it will display the list of all the sessions already defined. Therefore, to define a subsession, it is important that the sessions are defined first. So, select a session under which we need to define the subsession. As we select a subsession, currently it is showing us a subsession name as general because the subsession is already created under other sessions. So by default, if we have created a subsession name in even one session, it copies the same details for the other sessions. Let us see how to define different subsessions within a same session. In case in a school, there is no subsession of summer or winter is applicable, then we can define subsession name as general, as available on the screen right now. Then enter the start date of the subsession. If there is only one subsession which is general, then this will be the start date of the session. Then enter the end date of the subsession. This will be the end date of the session if there is only one subsession applicable. Then enter the start time and the end time of the subsession and proceed with other columns. Before proceeding with other columns, let us assume that there are two subdivisions of the new session. So, let us make general as one subsession called summer. Enter the start date of the session as the start date of the subsession, and the end date of this subsession will not be the end date of the session. But let's say if summer is applicable till 31st October, enter the end date of this subsession, and the start time and the end time has to be entered as applicable for the selected subsession. After this, in the column periods, click and enter the total number of periods which are applicable in the school during the day. These periods will also include the breaks or assembly periods, even if no numbers are given to these periods. So the total number of slots in the timetable needs to be entered in this field. So let us enter a period range. After this, click on the cell in the columns weekdays and make the applicable weekdays as applicable to the subsession. In case by mistake we have entered on a particular weekday, click again on the yes status and it becomes no. After entering the first subsession details, click on the button Add New Subsession and a new row gets added. In this, let us enter the next subsession within the session. So we are entering winter as the second subsession name, and the start date of this subsession will start after the end date of the first subsession. In this case, it will be 1st November 2015, and the end date of this subsession will be the end date of the entire session. Enter the start time of this subsession Enter the end time of this subsession. Enter the total number of periods in a day. These include, like we said, the number of breaks or assemblies, etc. And make applicable the weekdays of the week for the subsession. In the screen, you will also notice that the session start date and the session end date and session start time and session end time is also appearing. You have to ensure that the subsession start time and the end date has to be within the range of the session start time and the session's end date. Similarly, the range of the start date and end date of the two subsessions needs to be within the start date and the end date of the main session. In case there are multiple subsessions, the same can be defined as per these steps, and after this, click on button Save. In this case, we see that the winter timings are going beyond the session end timings. So let us again update them. Now you can add more subsessions as applicable, and multiple subsessions can be made within a session by following these steps. After this, click on the button Save and the data saving confirmation message is received. Click OK on the confirmation message and our subsession details are also saved. These subsession details appear in timetable and the employee attendance related screens. Select another session and repeat the steps as required. Click on the exit button to exit from the screen, and thank you for watching this video.